Hey everybody, in this video, we're going to take you on a stroll through the botanical gardens in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico,
where you can see more types of cacti than you ever knew existed.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean.
And I'm Deb.
And welcome back to the channel. So we thought we would talk a little bit about today about a cool adventure we did while we were staying in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico.
So today we are going to share with you the botanical gardens of San Miguel de Allende. And that was basically a day or a morning and afternoon adventure for us.
It was quite a lot of walking.
So you can either take an Uber out there, or like we did, we just walked. So we were staying close to Centro, and from Centro it was about a 30-minute uphill walk.
Yeah.
Because it is uphill, because once you're up there, you kind of look down over San Miguel.
That's what you need to understand, is that it is really at the top of the top part of San Miguel de Allende. So if you're down in Centro, or even we were like halfway up the hill, it's still quite a ways up and then quite a ways down.
From our house was about 30 minutes each way.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
But we did walk both of them.
But hard walking.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So it's $5 to get into the botanical gardens. And then once you are in the botanical gardens, you are basically in a conservatory of Mexican plants.
Yes.
So there are, I'm not even sure how many species of cacti.
There's more species of cacti than you'll see in a lot of different places. I mean, it is really, really cool.
And when we were there, the cacti were just starting to bloom.
Yeah.
So we could see like a little bit here, a little bit there, some color on the cacti, but imagine a couple weeks or so after we were there, because it was just the beginning of the rainy season. So if we were like just missed them blooming.
I figure we were probably 2 weeks early. If we'd been there 2 weeks later, that place would have been an explosion of flowers.
And then there were also several other succulents throughout.
Agaves,
and
big
agaves.
agave plants.
And so the place is just full of trails. So there's so many trails to take. And basically that's what we did. The gardens sit on 67 hectares, which is the same thing as about 165 acres. We did not walk all 165 acres, but it felt like
we walked most of it. Yeah.
Because we did a lot of walking.
Yeah. And we'll put up a map, because we took a picture of the map, and we'll kind of show you the path that we took, so you can kind of follow along as we talk through kind of the things that we saw. So the first thing we did when we got there, there's actually a really nice welcome center that you can walk into. It's a gift shop and everything, but really easy just to kind of breeze through, pay your $5 and basically and get through. But on the map, we headed off to the right, and there is a big pavilion over there that has it's neat. It kind of has some cool endangered species that they are caring for there.
Yep, it was a full greenhouse on that side, so that was very cool. And there were a lot of trails over there, and we kind of went through some of them before heading back over to the dam.
Yeah, you can just follow. The trails are really well marked. You can just follow them around, and it'll kind of show you where you're going and what to do. Really easy walking. So.
Yep. So then we walked over. The dam is maybe midpoint on the map, and we walked across the dam. When you walk across the dam, which is no longer in use, there are the wetlands on the right, and then the canyon, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute, on the left. And so you're able to kind of walk across the dam over to the other side.
Yeah, and the dam was a working dam at one point. There was a big factory that operated in this little valley, and it was built. The dam was built to do water control and hydroelectric electricity.
And so once you walk across the dam, you are going to come across the
something kind of weird, but it's really cool.
The sculpture monument.
Yeah.
Now, this looked like a spiral castle to me.
Yeah.
And it was like a maze. Like once you got there, you could take different
different paths to get to the part where you go up to the top. And the top had a mirror up on top of it. So
it was a very interesting structure for sure.
Yeah.
But at this point, we're on basically the north part of the map. And so we walked the loop of the north part of the map. Again, it felt like we did all 165 acres.
Yeah, it's a long loop. So if you're going to go up there, it is a long loop around. It is dry, so make sure you bring your water, and you are exposed out there in the sun.
Yes.
So make sure you bring sunscreen, a hat.
Maybe bug spray.
Yeah, definitely plenty of water. So and just be prepared. Like we got there to the botanical gardens maybe around 10 o'clock, I would say. If we had come an hour later, man, it literally would have been tough. Yeah.
So while we're walking the back part, one of the fun things to do is there's no animals. Well, you can't bring your animal to the botanical garden. So we would like be walking along, and there was almost nobody does the top part. I felt like we were like walking along, didn't see anybody.
It was empty.
It was empty, yeah. And so it was fun. We had just had a bunch of rain, and so it was fun watching the little prints.
You can see all kinds of different animal prints. You can see like little fox prints and just different types of animals that we would see. So
which is very cool. We also saw lots of lizards, and they eluded us for the longest time.
Hard to get a picture.
Because they're so quick.
Yep.
Like they just scurry away so quick. But as we went through the park, we got better at capturing them.
Yeah, they're like humans. So it was kind of cool though, because as we did that loop, then what we came up to was the hacienda, which is kind of like for the working factory that used to be there. It was like called the headquarters, or where the main owners would stay, or the operators would stay. And it was like an old, it's run down and it's ruins now, but you could kind of see where the gatehouse was and where the house was.
It was very cool.
It was pretty neat. Yeah.
So after that, we took our break. Okay. We did a lot of walking, and even though we really highly suggest you bring water, we did not bring water.
Yeah.
So
learn from our mistake.
Yeah. So after the first half of our excursion at the botanical gardens, we did make our way back up to the entrance, and the entrance is where you find the coffee shop.
Yeah.
So the coffee shop, one thing to note too, they actually had free water. So they had
That was nice.
container and some cups
So
where you could
big
get
thing of bottled water, a jug that you could just get fresh water.
Yeah. So we did help ourselves to that. But then also we ordered smoothies. So our smoothies were a combination of orange, guava, and pineapple.
And they were very good. Very refreshing.
We were so hot. They were very, very good.
Yeah.
And then also, they listed it as carrot cake, but we called it carrot bread because it didn't have any icing. And to me, carrot cake has icing on it. So
it was good.
It was good.
It was a good piece of carrot bread.
So that was a good way to just stop, refuel, get out of the heat.
Calm down, get the temperatures down, prepare ourselves for kind of the second half or maybe the last third of the journey.
Yeah. So from there, we headed now onto the left side of the map. So we headed first into the sculpture garden path.
So before we go inside, I was a little worried. We were a little hot, and I was almost thinking maybe I would tell Deb, maybe we're too hot. Maybe we shouldn't do this last third. Maybe we shouldn't go do the sculpture garden on the canyon. I'm so glad I didn't try to talk you out of going to do it.
Oh yeah, it was worth it.
Because that was absolutely worth it. So yeah.
Yep. Okay, so we went through the sculpture garden, which was interesting combination of different sculptures.
There was a lot of different art. It's kind of cool. Like they had commissioned art or had brought art in from lots of different sculptors, and there were a ton of different styles. There were some odd kind of Japanese Mexican fusion. There were some really cool like silver art. So it's really nice.
And we also came across the Plaza of the Four Winds.
Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
So that was interesting. And then we eventually made our way to the canyon. Now, the canyon had different lookout points.
Find the lookout points.
Oh, yeah.
They are amazing.
They were very cool. And they were signs up that's in some of the spots that said high risk zone.
Yeah.
So, you just kind of have to be careful because you can get super close to the edge, which sometimes he does.
I can tell you, you can get right up to the edge and look right over into the canyon.
But in spots where maybe it was a little bit scarier, they did have signs up. So
they did.
Maybe you want to stick closer to the path on those spots.
But when you look on the map, if you're visiting the gardens, you're going to see there's several different overlooks and go to all of them because they're different views. One overlook is an absolutely amazing view of San Miguel de Allende. Like you can see out over the city. It's really cool. Another view is one of the canyon itself. So go and make sure you're hitting all of those lookout points. They're all totally worth it.
And along the canyon route is where you're going to find the old mill ruins too.
Yeah, that was neat. And there are, so you'll see if you stop to kind of, some of them are a little hard to find, but at all the different kind of locations, you'll find a cool sign that will tell you what's going on here. The one at the old mill, because what's at the old mill is just kind of a lot of stoneworks that are still left of the building. But it explained that there was a working water wheel there at one point. And so once you can see like where the water wheel was, you're like, oh, that totally makes sense. But there are lots of cool like little ponds and because there's a little bit of a waterfall from the reservoir. So that was kind of cool to see. But yeah, lots of different stuff to check out.
Yep. So that was definitely a big bonus for us.
Yeah, it took, I mean, we walked back up to the main center from there. It was really easy. It's a, like I said, a well marked out path. And I think, I mean, it was a good day. It was fun. And it was a long walk back down.
We like getting out in nature.
Yep. And it was cool to see when we see botanical gardens, you know, in Kansas or here in Florida, they're very green. This botanical gardens was significantly more focused on cacti. And agave and things like that. So it was just different. It was cool. So I think that was it. I mean, we had a great day at the Botanical Gardens. If you are in San Miguel de Allende, it is totally worth checking out.
Absolutely.
So if you've got questions about it, leave them in the comments. We'll try to answer the best we can. If you've got a comment about it, be sure to leave that. Make sure you like and subscribe.
And thank you for joining us.
And we will see you in the next video.